Hi everyone, it's Katie from Midnight Music here doing another Facebook Live. I'm hoping that I have a few people join us live tonight. I'm trying out a different time. I've done a couple which have been in the morning for me, 10 a.m. or so, which is great for teachers in the US. Not so good for teachers here in Australia because they're teaching at that time. So I thought I would try doing one at 8 o'clock night our time, which is what it is for me here today. So if you're joining me live, I'd love you to just comment, let me know where you're from, and I'm going to get started in a moment with the topic for tonight's live session, which is going to be 15 ways to use a single computer in the music classroom. And I've got a few ideas there to share, a few things that I've been doing over the years which have worked really well. And so it's a great way to use technology, even if you've just got limited options for, devices that you've got at hand. So let me know where you're from if you're watching live. And as I said, I'll wait just a few moments to give people a chance to join in, and we can get started with the topic after that. So let me know where you're from. I'm here in Melbourne. Some of you might not know that. I live in Melbourne and work at home most of the time, running workshops and doing online courses and things for music teachers in music technology, which I love to do, and it's great because it gives me some flexibility on what I'm doing as well. And I can drop my kids at school but still be running a business at the same time, which is really lovely. So we're still in winter here in Melbourne, unfortunately, heading towards a little bit warmer weather, I'm hoping, and we should get a little bit warmer in a few weeks' time when we hit spring, which I'm really looking forward to. So today's topic is going to be talking about 15 ways to use a single computer in the music classroom, and I'm just going to see if I can check my settings and make sure everything's happening okay here. It looks like it's all good. All right. Excellent. I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to get started with these ideas for using a single computer in the music classroom. I'm going to share a lot of links and resources in today's session. Don't worry too much about writing them down if you don't want to. I'm actually going to provide a link at the end of the session where you can download a list of all of the things that I'm going to mention today, including the ideas, and there'll be links to the resources as well. So let me get started. My first way of using a single computer in the music classroom is just to use it to show really clever YouTube videos. And by clever, I mean clever musical YouTube videos. I've actually been collecting videos and links to videos over a number of years now. And I've got quite a collection actually on my Pinterest account page. I've got a collection there called Clever Music Videos, so it's not a very original name, but it just tells you what it is. And basically there's videos there which show musicians doing really cool things. Now, they might be cool in terms of they're an excellent performer, but they might be doing some really interesting things just with unusual instruments perhaps, or in the way that they perform. And they can be great discussion starters for things that you're doing in class. Maybe they're a great way to introduce a topic to students and other things like that. So if you want to see the things that I've been saving, the types of video links that I've been saving, you can head over to my Pinterest account. And as I mentioned before, I'll provide a link at the end which will give you a rundown of all the things I'm going to mention today. But the link for that, my Pinterest account, is pinterest.com/Katie Wardrobe. So if you want to check out that you can find my Clever Music Videos post there. Now, I'm checking my list here. I don't want to forget anything, so I've got a bit of a list in front of me here. The second idea for using a computer in the music classroom, just a single computer, is to use a website called Playpose or Playpose. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but it's a place where you can actually link to an existing YouTube or Vimeo video, and you can actually set up questions to go along with it. So it allows you to set up questions which actually appear throughout the video itself. So the video can start playing and it can pause along the way and actually pop up with a question that you've set up ahead of time. So if you're just using a single computer, this is a great way to get students involved or doing some kind of quiz. And it's a good thing that you can perhaps set up ahead of time that you can leave for a substitute teacher to use if you are not going to be present at class. So that's a great way. Now, with all of these ideas today, just a single computer is the only thing you need. But apart from that, the only other thing you might need is a data projector and speakers. So, of course, you can hook those up, and pretty much everyone has access to a data projector and speakers now. So you can hook your computer up and then project the website or whatever it is you're showing there. So Playpose is a great one. It's a great place to set up quizzes ahead of time, as I said. If you do actually have access to multiple devices that students can use, it's really good because you can actually give them access to the link to the Playpose quiz where you've got this thing set up, and they can even complete it themselves all on their own individual devices. So that works really well too. But great for just a single computer too. Now, the next thing, number 3, is learning notes of the staff using some kind of interactive website or software. Now, the one that I've liked over the years is called Staff Wars, and it's a game that you can download. It's basically software you can download to your laptop, and it works on Mac or PC. And it's a game where basically there's a spaceship on the screen and a music staff, and notes fly in across the staff from the right-hand side of the screen, and you have to shoot them with the spaceship. And the way that you do that is by identifying the correct note that's flying across the staff. So it's got that Star Wars kind of thing going on with it. It's great, really appealing to all ages, and boys and girls as well. Now, there's a desktop version of that app, and you can download that for free. They also have a paid app version for iPads and Android devices. It's not very much, it's just a couple of dollars, so it's really well worth it. So they're definitely one to check out. And in the link where you'll download the list of resources that I'm mentioning today, I'm actually going to link to some scorecards that I've got, which I've set up based on an idea which a teacher mentioned as part of one of the email groups that I'm part of, a music teacher's email group. She set up some scorecards to use. So if you are only working with a single computer, you can hand out scorecards to the kids in your class and actually get them to use the scorecards with your, the projected Staff Wars game in the classroom. So it's a great way to get everyone involved, even if you've just got the one computer. Now, the 4th thing that you can do is to be a music producer. I've titled this one. And this is to use the Incredibox website. Now, lots of you have probably tried Incredibox in the past. It's a website you can visit. It's an interactive one where basically there are some guys across the screen, and you can drag sounds onto them and they will beatbox or sing a cappella phrases. And it all fits really well together. And again, it's really appealing to lots of age groups. It's really cool to look at and lots of fun. So you can use this to introduce concepts of beatboxing or a cappella singing. You could use it to introduce remixing or arranging, and get students to record their own mix with the Incredibox guys. I've actually recently published a free lesson plan based on Incredibox, so if you want to check that out, you can. And again, that link will be in the notes that I'll give you towards the end of this session. And Incredibox has been around for a long time. There's actually different versions or different flavours of the website, and it's lots of fun, lots and lots of fun. So that's number 4. I'm going to go through a couple more, and then I'll pause and see if anyone's got any questions. I'm really happy for people to ask questions as I go along, and I'll pause every now and again and just check the comments and see if people have got questions there. I'm using a new system tonight, and it looks a little bit different for me, so I'm hoping everything's going okay. I'd love it if someone could type something into the screen, just into the comments, and just say, yes, I'm trying to see where it's going to appear for me. I'm not sure if I'm looking in the right place. I'm using some software which allows me to do some kind of extra things, some kind of cool stuff. Oh, I can actually see on my other screen here. Okay, that's cool. All right, I'm hoping that this is all going all right. I think it is. I think I can see myself live on my other screen here, so all good. So I'll keep going with a couple more, and feel free to ask questions if you want to. Oh, Tori, thank you. Thank you. She says, video quality looks good. Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you. Hard to know. It's really hard to know when you're just talking to yourself, kind of. Excellent. That's great. So number 5 is to do some exploration of time signatures using one of the areas on the Chrome Music Lab website. Now, Chrome actually put up a website, I think it was 2016 or it might have been 2015, maybe just over 12 months ago. And they have a website called the Chrome Music Lab, where there are a number of different sort of sub-websites, and they're basically little interactive music games or basically music games or music activities that you can use with your students. Some fantastic ones there. I think there's 12 different activities that you can do in total. And they all just do little simple things, so they're really great for just introducing a concept or reinforcing something. So the one I'm thinking of at the moment for exploring time signatures, they've got one called Rhythm, and it basically shows a couple of little creatures on the screen, cartoon things, and they're playing instruments. And underneath you can see kind of like graphic notation of what the rhythms are that they are playing. And it's in 3 parts. So the first one that you look at, I think, is in, from memory, 3/4. And then there are other options to scroll through and see different time signatures as well. So my thought with this one is really that students can see the rhythms written on the screen, and they're very simple. They're basically crotchets, and I think a couple of them involve quavers as well. Students could actually look at the rhythms on the screen and play them with classroom instruments or do some body percussion instead. And then you could press play and then actually hear the website play the rhythm back. They could then play along with the website, so you can do a little bit of them playing versus the website playing, and both together at the same time. Because there are 3 parts on the screen, 3 different rhythms happening simultaneously, you could get the students to divide up into groups, and you could have them each doing a different rhythm and get them to play that. So I really like that idea. It's a great simple one. And then you can actually get the students themselves to set up a new rhythm. So on the screen, you've got the option of turning on or off notes, and it's really great fun to create your own rhythms, and then they could play them back again. You could even get students to move away from the computer after they've done sort of a group activity and get them to make up their own rhythms and then come back to the computer where the group is and put those together on the screen, so they could actually basically like reverse transcribing, if you know what I mean, put their rhythms up onto the Chrome Music Lab screen. There are meters of 3, 4 and 5 and 6, I think, from memory, so you can do all sorts of different rhythms and explore different meters with them. Just pausing for a minute for Tori's question, which I can't quite read very well on my here we go. Oh yes, Tori's asked about do I find that the Chrome Music Lab takes forever to load? And the comment is, tried it in a couple of lessons and they take quite a long time to load. Actually loading it now and it's taking its time. Yeah, I do. And I haven't worked out the pattern, because sometimes it loads really well and then other times it takes a while, like you're saying, it takes a long time to load. And I haven't worked out if it's the Wi-Fi that I'm on or if it's the device. So here's the thing that I've discovered, and I don't know if you've got an iPad as well as a laptop, but I find it loads really easily on my iPad, but not as quickly on my laptop. And I don't know why that is. I can't work it out. I can't work out the pattern. And that can be on the same Wi-Fi. I can do them both on the same Wi-Fi, and for some reason the iPad will load more quickly. I've tried, I think I had more success one time, and I haven't tested this more than once to know for sure if it's the right thing that's fixing it, but I did have some extra success when I cleared out my browsing history and my cache and stuff. So and that was on my laptop, and then after that it kind of loaded better. So maybe try that. You could try it while we're talking and let me report back and let me know if it works. Yeah, I don't know, but yes, you're right, it does. But yeah, and if you've got an iPad, maybe try that and see if that makes any difference. Yeah. So the next one that I want to talk about as well, number 6, is again the Chrome Music Lab. They have another little activity on there called Oscillator, and this is a great one for introducing sound synthesis. So you can open up the oscillator and there's basically a little character, like a cartoon character on the screen. To me, they look a little bit like Mr. Men characters, if you've ever read those books. And there are 4 oscillator types. There's square, there's sawtooth, there's sine and triangle, I think, from memory. And you can basically click on the screen and drag your mouse up or down, or if you're on the iPad, you can drag your finger up and down. And basically it will change the frequency that they're producing. So the pitch will go up or the pitch will go down. So this is just a great way for students to explore different types of wave types, of oscillator types, and to talk about perhaps the relationship between frequency and pitch as well, because it actually tells you the frequency on the screen when you're clicking and holding your finger or holding the mouse in place. And so you could get students to make a low note and just take a look at what the frequency is there, and then go upwards and see what the frequency is there. You could even do some pitch matching type exercises where they might produce a low note and then see if they can match it by finding the one which is an octave higher, which in numerical frequency terms should be double the number, obviously. So that's another great one in the Chrome Music Lab. I'm going to mention one more from the Chrome Music Lab as well, another one which is great to use in a sort of a group situation if you've just got one computer to use, and that's the Chrome Lab Melody Maker. And this is an on-screen, basically like a step sequencer, so you can click on the screen to create pitches and press play, and it will play through the melody that you've created on the screen. It's a little bit like, I think it's a great stepping stone to sort of more traditional notation. Basically, it's like a piano roll editor that you might see in other software programs that you're using, like GarageBand or Mixcraft or Soundtrap and those type digital audio workstations. So you could get the students to create a melody as a group, and you can discuss along the way what makes a good melody, what sort of notes you might choose to start and finish on, and the shape of the melody, and perhaps whether the notes move by step or by leaps and that sort of thing. Once you've created your melody, it's a really short melody. It's only a small space that you've got on the screen, so you could get students to play that melody afterwards by using classroom percussion instruments, tuned percussion, or keyboards if you've got them, or they could even sing it. You could sing it in solfa if you do that at your school, and that's a really great way just to do a group activity with the single computer there. You could even take the students away from the computer as well, and they could perhaps think about that melody and see how they can experiment to change it by varying tempo or rhythm or the speed or the time signature even, and then perhaps groups can come back and play their variation of the melody to the rest of the group after that. That was number 7. So number 8 is the Class Tools website. And on the Class Tools website, there's actually an option for a cool countdown timer. Now, I like this idea of setting a musical timer for something that you might be doing in class. So, again, a great way to use just your single computer if you've got it attached to a data projector and speakers. And you can basically go there, you can set your timer, however long you want it to be, and choose some background music for it. Now, I like this option for doing things like if you want a speedy clean-up in your classroom, you might set a timer with the background music. And the music choice that I like on their website, there's a few options in a drop-down menu. The one that I like is the Mission Impossible theme, so it's really great for speeding things up when you want to get something done towards the end of a class, so that's a really great one. Now, if you just joined us, I know a couple of people have just joined us here talking about 15 ways you can use a single computer in the music classroom. And I mentioned earlier in the session that I've actually got a list of all of these things I'm talking about, so don't worry too much about, links to specific websites. I'll give you the link at the end, the one link where it will be a place to download the list of what I've talked about today. So we're up to number 9. Number 9 is to improvise on the pentatonic scale using basically an interactive video on a website. Now, this has been set up by New York University. They do some great stuff there, interactive websites, lots of interesting, useful musical tools for teachers to use. And this one is really simple. It's just a video which plays over and over in a loop, and it shows someone playing a piano piece. And basically, what you can do is play the notes of the pentatonic scale along with this accompaniment that's in the video. And it's a great improvisation tool. So it involves, it's in the key that you would play the black notes on the keyboard. So if you have a keyboard handy, or students have access to actual keyboards, not computer ones, but musical keyboards, they could improvise while this video is going on, and just by using the black notes. Now, if you've got glockenspiels, you could also use the black notes on the glockenspiels. That would work really well. Or students could be singing. You could give them, just the notes of the pentatonic scale to use, and they can sing along with the video. Now, if you do actually have access to multiple devices for students to use, they can even play along using the keys on their computer keyboard to activate notes of the pentatonic scale. So that works really well. But if we're talking our situation here with the single computer, that would only involve one student. So the others could be doing the things that I mentioned, so using the black notes on glockenspiels or keyboards, or singing instead. Okay, so number 10, checking my list here, is to use this interactive website called Bouncy Balls to visualize dynamics in the classroom. So this is a website you can go to. It's kind of like a black background, and there are a whole lot of coloured balls at the bottom of the screen when you first go there. The first time you go there, the website will ask you for permission to access your microphone, so you just click OK. And then after that, whenever students make a sound, or anyone makes a sound in the classroom, the balls at the bottom of the screen all start moving and bouncing around. Now, the louder the sound, the higher and more energetic the balls are on the screen, and the lower level the sound, the balls stay quite still if you're very quiet. So a great way to visualise dynamics. The students can demonstrate forte or piano for you, and also a good way maybe if they're making too much noise in the classroom and you want to put that on in the background and warn them that if the balls are bouncing around too much, that the noise level is too high. So that one's a lot of fun, just really simple. Number 11 is another one to do with visualising sound, and the idea here is to use some sort of program, software program that records audio, and you can basically use that just to record anything you like. So it could be singing or talking or the class performing, and you can display that on the data projector, the waveform that is the recording, and it gives students a chance to kind of visualise the sound that they've just made. Now, I've been doing this for a while, sort of showing this idea in workshops, and, it's been great. And then I saw, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, a teacher shared an idea which kind of took this a little bit further, and it looked great, where she got students to record their voices. And this was, I think, in time for Valentine's Day or maybe Mother's Day. She got students to record their voices saying the words, "I love you," or something like that, some nice message for the mother. I think it was maybe Valentine's Day. So saying something like, "I love you." And they ended up printing out the waveform and putting it on a nice piece of, cardboard with a heart-shaped cutout, and it looked really cool. So again, it was a great way to visualise sound in this waveform. And even since then, I've even seen people make necklaces out of waveforms. So you can basically send a recording of your own voice to this company, which will produce a physical version of a waveform and put it in a pendant or some piece of jewellery. So again, it's great. I've done this just with Audacity, which is a free software program for Macs and PCs. You can open up Audacity, hit the record button, and basically just talk or sing or make some noise. The other thing you can do is import recordings and compare them that way. And so the thing that I have found really interesting is to import something of a classical style, so maybe some Mozart, And you can see the waveform is really varied. There are some very small parts of the waveform, and then it's big, and because the dynamics are very varied throughout the piece. And I've also done it with a pop song, and the one I did once was a Lady Gaga piece, and a Lady Gaga song, and I imported that into Audacity, and it was quite hilarious because Audacity, if you've used it before, you might know it's a blue waveform. So the Mozart piece had variation, and the blue waveform sort of went up and down over different parts, and then the Lady Gaga song was like this wall of blue which never changed. It was just this straight, no variation in it. And it's not that that's bad, it was just interesting, just different. So I thought that was quite funny. I imported it, just a wall of blue. So, yeah, quite hilarious and kind of a good thing to show students, that there's less variation, dynamic variation, for instance, or textural variation in maybe a pop song than there is in, say, something from the classical era. Just checking comments again, and oh good, Tori's just checked out the countdown timer. It's great having people check things out as you go. Countdown timer and the Bouncy Balls website. Yeah, that's great. Excellent. Oh, I'd love to hear back from you, Tori, and let me know if comment. You can comment on this video actually tomorrow on the recording and let me know how they go. If anyone's got any other questions, I'll pause periodically and answer comments or questions as we go. And if you're watching a recording of the video and it's not the live version now, I'll answer questions in days to come when the video is still around and being watched. So number 12, I've got 4 more to go. Number 12, I'm calling better than a metronome, and the idea here is to use something which, where you want to perhaps set a metronome for students to play along with. And this could be even for something as simple as choral warm-ups, rather than having just a metronome going or you keeping time as a conductor. You can set something a little bit more interesting, rhythmically interesting going while students are doing their warm-ups or their scales or their exercises or even a classroom ensemble piece. So the idea for your single computer here is to use something like software or an interactive website where you can set up a drum pattern of some sort. Now the one I'm loving at the moment is called Groove Pizza, and you can visit Groove Pizza. If you just Google Groove Pizza, you'll find it. And it's an online drum sequencer in a circular shape, and you can basically set up a pattern there. You can change your tempo, you can change the sound of the drum kit that you're using, you can vary the rhythm in all sorts of ways. You could get students to come up and set up the rhythm and experiment and change it, and it's just lots of fun. So simple and easy to use and really cool. And that's only just one of the website options or software options that you can use. There's another one called Beat Lab. I used to use that a fair bit, but when Groove Pizza came along, I decided to switch over to that because I like that one a lot better, and it's got a bit more flexibility, I find, and you don't need to log into it or anything like that. And Beat Lab tends to be set up that if you want to save your rhythm, you need to log in, and actually I think it's with a Facebook account, so that wasn't so suitable for schools. But you could also use, GarageBand if you've got that, or any of those digital audio workstations with a loop library. You can even drag in loops from the loop library, change the tempo, and use that as your metronome instead of just a plain old, metronome. Lots and lots of fun. Now, as an extension of that, number 13 is to do the same sort of thing, create some kind of funky backing and actually get students to write a rap that goes over the top of it. So this is a great way to sort of encourage speaking or singing, could be even a song, singing or speaking in time to a beat, in time to a rhythm. And again, that's a great thing. I'll give a link in the notes that you can download for today's session to a lesson plan that's written out about how you can do that, called Rap My Name. And I've even given a structure for the rap. You don't have to use that. Students can make up their own thing, but kind of good to provide something if you're a little bit short on class time. So, last couple of things. I'll go through the last couple and then I'll check and see if there's any questions from anyone. Number 14 is to do some storytelling. So this is a great single computer activity. It works really well with multiple devices too, but if you've just got a single computer, you could do some storytelling activity with students where they create a story or they might choose an existing story. So this is a great one for, I know a lot of people do children's storybooks. So picking a children's storybook, using that as the basis. And then you could assign, if you've just got the one computer, you can do this as a group activity where perhaps you assign different roles to different students. So someone might be the narrator, or you might have a few narrators. If there are different speaking parts in the story, you could get different students to do those parts. Someone might be the writer if you're actually writing your own story to do this. Someone could be a composer. There could be multiple students that are composing music to go along with the story, and that could be intro and outro music, or it could be underlying music throughout the whole thing. You could even get students to be like Foley artists, where they're creating sound effects and sounds to accompany action that goes on in the story. So a great group activity. Once you've got that kind of all practiced and rehearsed and it's going well, then you could just record the students doing it as a performance. And again, I use Audacity a lot of the time for these sorts of activities. It's just a really simple software program to use, hit record and use Audacity. I'm actually going to talk in a couple of days in one of the other Facebook Lives, I think it might be the one that's scheduled for tomorrow, about recording students. So if you're looking for tips and what sort of microphone you might use, there are some options which are really simple and not expensive to use, and it just lifts the level of production. It makes it a much better result for students in the end, if you can use a microphone to record them, especially for this sort of storytelling activity. So the last one is to do something with perhaps, orchestral works like the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, is to use something like that and work through an interactive website, if you can find one, as a group together. So the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, there is a Carnegie Hall interactive listening kind of story that you can work through as a class. And it's a little bit set up like an adventure, like a storybook, and you basically go there and you do sort of different things along the way. And so that's a great one to do as a group. You could work through that. Of course, again, if you've got multiple devices, students could work on that individually as well. So that's my 15 ideas for using a single computer in the music classroom. And if you'd like to download a copy of the list of everything I've mentioned today with links, it's totally free. It's at midnightmusic.com.au/15 ways. And I'm going to see, I've got a little thing where I think I can put that link up for you. Hold on. Can you see that? It might appear in a second. So midnightmusic.com.au/15 ways, and that's the list of everything I've talked about today. I'll also put that link into the description so you can actually click on it and be taken there as well. Description or the comments, one or the other for the video. And I'm also going to mention I'm doing these Facebook Live videos this week because I'm kind of celebrating a special offer that I've got going on for my online music tech PD community for teachers, and it's a 30% discount off the usual subscription price this week, basically until the end of August. So if you'd like to know more about that, I'm going to put another link up for you. Hopefully this one also works. There we go. And that one's midnightmusic.com.au/simple music tech. So you can check that out too. So I'm going to add both of those links to the descriptions or the comments, and I will also be doing a few more Facebook Live videos this week. I've just had kind of upgraded internet, so I've been a little bit excited and doing quite a few in a short space of time. And after this week, after sort of this week's over and we're back into September, I'm going to probably do them maybe once or twice a week, and I'll try and work out a specific day and time so that it's fairly predictable for everyone. I'll probably do a time which is friendly to teachers in the States, and then also a time which is friendly to teachers in the Southern Hemisphere where I am, which is this time really evening time for us. So the next one that I'm going to do is it's USA Tuesday the 29th of August at 8 p.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time for USA teachers. And the same time, the equivalent same time, is Wednesday the 30th of August at 10 a.m. That's going to be my next one, and that's when I'm going to talk about super simple tips for recording students in class. And I'll share some options there for how to get around working in a noisy classroom situation where you've got multiple groups or multiple students that all want to do recording at once. What are some options there? I'll talk about microphone options that you can use, really simple and easy ones that are not expensive if you've got a little bit of a budget. You may even find that you've got lying around at school already some of the options that I'm going to mention. Go and pinch them from people who might not be using them in the school. And later this week, and I'll put links up for these two, there's going to be 2 more sessions. Another one is going to be 19 ways to use a single iPad in the music classroom, so similar to today's session but for the iPad. And the one later in the week is going to be tips for surviving technology in the music classroom. And again, happy to answer questions at any of these live sessions. So if you've got a question, come on live and let me know, and I'll do my best to answer the question. Just going back through the comments, Tori's saying Crow Music Lab still hasn't loaded. No, I don't know. I feel like writing to them actually and asking what the pattern is and why it does load sometimes really well and doesn't load other times. I'm really not sure. I haven't quite worked it out, but I'll report back to you if I find anything out about that. But yeah, if you haven't already, Tori, try clearing your browser cache history thing, technical terms. Excellent. Thanks for coming on live, those of you who did. Thank you, Guy. Great to see some people on live. These videos always get a lot more views after the fact, so after it's stopped the live session, the recording stays up on my Midnight Music page, and so you can watch it again there or point other people to it. If you've got friends or colleagues that you think might be interested, I'd love it if you can share the video or tag them in a comment or something. That always helps spread the word around. So thanks again for coming on live, and I hope to see some of you later in the week on the next 3 sessions that I'm doing, and then in the future too. Tori tried to clear history, but it didn't work. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought that might be the key. When I did it and it worked really well, I was really excited. I thought, okay, that's an easy fix, but maybe not so much. Julie Moore, thank you, Julie. Thank you for coming live on for a little bit of time. Excellent. And yeah, it's great. And thank you, Larissa, the thumbs up, and Mindy and Erica and Brendan. I can see back through my comments here. Great. I'm going to sign off. I'll be online for a bit longer, so if people have got questions, just post them under the video and I'll post back a comment that way. But thanks, everyone, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the next live session. Bye-bye.